Thanks. All right. Well, welcome to Blue Zoning Your Week. I know that you guys are all familiar with the Blue Zone concept. I know that you've listened to some other webinars of mine that really focused on eating, what to eat and how to eat to be blue zoning your diet. But I wanted to take that another step tonight with some of the other things that the blue zones incorporate. So yes, beans, they are 99% plant-based. Beans that grow in their region. So in Costa Rica, in that blue zone, of course, they're eating a lot of black beans. In Greece, they're eating a lot of chickpeas. And in Italy, they're eating a lot of fava beans. And in Okinawa, they're eating a lot of soybeans. And then in Loma Linda, California, they're eating whatever beans are in their local market, which is probably all the beans, because that's how California is. But in addition to beans, there is an etc. there. And one of the awesome food groups that they eat a lot of in the blue zones is whole grains. And let's bring whole grains back into fashion. Carbs of all sorts have been vilified for the last 5 or 10 years. They're the first thing that we tend to cut out of our diet when we're trying to lose weight. They're the controversial food group that, you know, paleo and keto have turned into the enemy. But whole grains not only are going to add a lot of fiber to our diet and improve our gut health, which improves our immunity, which improves our longevity, they're also adding a bunch of really important micronutrients, B vitamins, and well, mostly the B vitamins. So experiment with some whole grains, and this could be anything like basic oatmeal to more exotic whole grains like farro, which is delicious. It's real chewy. It's like a real thick, chewy brown rice. And for that matter, brown rice, wild rice, quinoa, which my sister-in-law will point out is not a whole grain, but a seed. But I like to clump it in with that group. Bulgur wheat. You know, if you have a gluten sensitivity, you would not pick a wheat product here, but there are certainly other gluten-free grains that you can throw into your diet. And then they eat so many vegetables. They eat vegetables that are plentiful to their region. They use a lot of spices and herbs, and they just keep simple food. And they mix simple foods together, and they season it with olive oil and local spices and herbs. So when we're blue zoning our week, instead of giving you a meal plan, I think it's important to give yourself some permission to take a week to just gather these things, gather some more canned beans. I'm on vacation, and here in my little vacation pantry over here by the door, I have a can of refried pinto beans. I have a can of organic garbanzo beans, and I have my lentils. Okay, so give yourself a week to just gather some different beans and gather some bean recipes. I mean, this sounds obvious, but I think a lot of times we don't give ourselves a chance to really prepare for change. And then we become very frustrated that we weren't good at the change. And so we abandon the change.
That is so important that you say that, Laura, because I also think that when you're doing that, preparing to make a list as you're doing it to keep track of what you like and don't like, so you're not reinventing this wheel.
Exactly. It is totally.
I do that all the time.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It is okay, you know, once a month to do your favorite garbanzo bean recipe and just eat it for 3 or 4 days. We are not chefs. We are just home cooks trying to get some good nutrition. So hopefully you're somebody that likes to eat the same thing over and over again with some variety. So like I said, about once a month, I make a big, huge garbanzo bean salad. I like to mix it. I just happen to have it right here. I like to mix some garbanzo beans with apple cider vinegar, a red onion, some celery, some radishes, some cucumbers, and then I'll dash a little olive oil on top. I love it. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to put that on my fridge. So when I'm trying to come up with a bean recipe, I know it's right there. I'm not reinventing the wheel, like Megan said. And you don't have to, when you're trying to blue zone your week, you don't have to give up all the meat right now. Gradually work your way into it. So when I talk about like, all right, this is going to be my blue zone week, I think the best way you can use a week is to prepare. Get all the beans, get all the recipes, experiment a little bit, and see what you and your family are gonna like. And that means, you know, the whole grains and all the etc. stuff as well. Movement. When we're blue zoning our week, we definitely want to schedule movement. And I know you guys are already scheduling your forest bathing, and you're scheduling your HIIT training, and you're scheduling your strength training, and you're scheduling your posture therapy. And that is great. And now we're going to take it to the next level, and we're going to schedule. Oh, I forgot a posture. Well, I forgot quotes there. We're going to schedule some exercise snacks. What we are learning about movement is that it isn't enough to just do the workout and then get on with our day. You have to move all day. And in the posture camp that I taught here at Chautauqua for the last couple of weeks, I said, channel your great grandparents, channel the kind of day that they had. My great grandmother, Mabel, I remember her vividly. She chopped her own wood. She carried the wood into the kitchen and reached into the stove to stoke the fire to scramble her egg that she got from the chicken coop in the backyard, that she carried a bucket of water to and some scraps from the kitchen to feed them. So it's not just cracking an egg and turning on the gas stove. You're finding ways to move, channeling your great grandparents' kind of a lifestyle. And even before the great grandparents, channel that 200,000-year-old ancestor, your Homo sapien ancestor, and think about all the things that they did in a day. And what the Blue Zone people are recommending is that our great grandparents didn't have a Fitbit or an Apple Watch probably, but what we can do is every 45 minutes, set your timer for 45 minutes. Every 45 minutes, take an exercise snack. Take a little exercise snack. This isn't a workout. This is go outside and check out your plants or water your plants, or go upstairs and tidy a room, or do a load of laundry, or dance, or get up and down off the floor 4 times. But every 45 minutes that you're awake, you need to take a 5 to 10 minute exercise snack. That could be walking, that could be running, that could be a workout if you want it to be. Moving, finding ways to move your body in all these beautiful, wondrous ways does great things for your longevity. It's sending messages to your brain that you're still alive and that you're still expecting things out of your body. If we don't get that signal and all we do is sit, your brain is receiving really dangerous signals about what the expectations are for your body. And it's gonna help you meet those expectations of being a sedentary lump. That sounds really harsh, but your body's meant to move. So take some exercise snacks every 45 minutes. Okay. So now we've checked off my 2 favorite and the 2 topics that I'm best at personally, good diet and good exercise. Now we're getting into some territory that I'm terrible at, and maybe this is you too. Their mindset is completely different than ours. Instead of looking at a schedule of a week and seeing how much stuff they can program, how many activities they can do, where's everybody going to be every 15 minutes of every day, and all these, I've seen these families have moving, whiteboards and magnets where to represent what everybody's doing all week. that's the Western way, and that is so dangerous to our stress levels. It's so dangerous to our cortisol levels. It's so dangerous to our hormonal levels. And remember that hormones aren't just about reproducing, they're about the habitat in which your body is living. And when we are super scheduled and super dialed in, and we're always watching the news, and we're always checking our phone, and we're always on and connected to something, it's hard on your body, it's hard on your longevity. So in the blue zones, they make time to downshift. So along with that exercise snack, combine or add on another 5 minutes to downshift. Take off your glasses and just cup your eyes, heel of hand on the eye sockets, and just kind of palm the eyes and meditate and breathe. This position is so comforting and relaxing. And we've talked about some others. Tapping, you guys, we saw that tapping video. You can downshift with a nice, your favorite mug from the art show, a nice cup of tea. You can downshift by singing out loud your favorite song. You can downshift with smelling a nice candle. I happen to have a nice little lavender candle burning over there. Whatever your favorite scent is, dab it on your wrist or spritz it in the air, and maybe spritz it and downshift with palms on eyes for 5 minutes. Taking time to do that, not just once a week, but really, setting that timer and downshifting is going to be super important, and such a non-Western thing, right?
Well, it's non-Western in a way. It's like the higher you get up the ladder, or if you're almost to the top and not quite, those are the people that can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're Jeff Bezos, he's not doing this.
Exactly.
But if you're down a couple million, billion.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're above where we are,
Right, exactly.
People doing it.
Taking
time. 87-year-old friend probably did it.
Taking time to do this sounds so petty and so self-indulgent and so minor when we compare it to the benefits of beans or getting up and down off the floor, but it's not. If you're going to really embrace the blue zones, it's like anything. You can't just pick and choose what you like. You can't just pick and choose the scriptures that you want to follow. You kind of got to follow the whole thing. You can't just pick and choose which of the HIIT exercises you like. You got to kind of do the whole thing. So this mindset is such an important part of the blue zone longevity, as well as the mindset of purpose. A lot of people say, what's your purpose? I'm a posture coach. Well, what if you weren't a posture coach? Well, then I'd be a personal trainer. Well, what if you weren't a personal trainer? Well, I'm Bob's girlfriend. Well, what if you're no longer Bob's girlfriend? Well, I'm my mom's daughter. Well, what if you're no longer your mom's daughter? What happens when those people are gone and your career has ended? Now what's your purpose? And ask yourself that question really honestly. What other purpose do you have besides your job and besides your familial relationships? What are you waking up to do every morning? And the people that have a strong sense of purpose have much better longevity. So when you're blue zoning your week and you're considering your purpose, again, start planning for this. Maybe join a volunteer group or become a friend to somebody that needs a friend, or grab a friend that you know that you need as a friend, or find something to do in your community, whether it be with the earth or with homeless people, or a charity that you feel strongly about. What else are you waking up to do every day? In the blue zones, wisdom and age are highly coveted. They love elderly people, and they think that maybe people are living so long because even after their careers are done, actually their careers never end. If they have a gift or a talent or wisdom, they keep sharing that all the way until the very end. They don't just stop at age 60 and become uninteresting or unimportant. They have this purpose all the way till the end of their lives. So be thinking about that over the next week while you're really trying to blue zone your life. Do a little inventory about what your purpose is now and maybe what you want it to be and how you can keep contributing all the way to the end, not just working hard so you can leave it all behind at age 60 or 65 or whatever that number is. And then the other cool mindset difference that they have is just a constant set of gratitude, not just on Sundays or whatever their holy day is, and not just when good things happen to them. They are grateful all day long, and they take a moment to acknowledge that by journaling or by, thanking the spiritual world that they belong to, or sharing notes with friends, or sharing victories with friends. And you guys are always so good about being open and honest and celebrating your victories in these group chats. So I think the mindset piece for me, because I'm Western and because I'm a good, I have that good Northern Protestant work ethic, and because I'm self-employed, and because I have a partner that's self-employed, and it was instilled in me as a young kid to work, 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 work. It almost seems self-indulgent to do some of these things, but I'm here to tell you that they are doing this in the blue zones, and it seems to be part of the secret sauce. And these can be hard for us to allow ourselves to do. So take a week to think about how you can incorporate those things. And then this one is another hard one for me, this community idea. Especially in the last year, I kind of love being alone in my house, working from my computer. I kind of love it. I am definitely an introvert. I definitely like my alone time. I definitely like my quiet time. And this is where I get dinged on all these blue zone quizzes. My blue zone test says I'm going to live until 94, but I'm only going to be healthy until I'm 84. That means if I don't change something, I'm going to be sick for the last 10 years of my life. And that bugs me because I am eating the beans and I am doing the exercise, but I can't just do those. I have to do these too. So with the community aspect, they're suggesting that we share your gifts, share your joys, share your needs, be honest about what you need, share your vulnerabilities, share your weaknesses in your community. There is a group of people around you that can be contributing to your longevity, but only if you share with them. Give something and take something. That's the human, that's the concept of being human, not living in these little bubbles in your own little laptop bubble. Sharing your vulnerabilities and your gifts in a community is super important. So for the Blue Zone week that you're going to embark in, figure out what that is. Maybe you start by sharing more with a neighbor. Maybe you start by sharing more with a coworker. Maybe you share a little bit more deeply with a friend or a partner or a family member that you're already connected with. Share your gifts and share your vulnerabilities. It makes you human. Your brain recognizes that, your soul recognizes that, and it adds to your longevity. And that kind of goes hand in hand with socializing. Invite some people over for mocktails. Put out some cute little snacks and have fun little mixers and socialize, because Bob and I did this earlier this week. We had Megan and her husband come over here at Chautauqua, and we had my mom and another friend come over, and we never do that at home because we're always working, and then we're so tired from working, we just rest, and very rarely do we get out with other friends. But what was great about socializing? I got to hear new things about Megan, who I've known for a long time. And I got to hear new things about my mom, who I've known for a long time. And I got to know Megan's husband a little better, but who I really got to know better is Bob. I've lived with him for 5 years, and I know him and my relationship, but seeing him relate to Ned and Anne and Megan and tell his story and listen to other people's stories made me see my own partner for the first time in a totally different way. And I fell in love with him all over again. So I recommend it. And you might also learn something about yourself. You might learn that you're a little intimidated or awkward, or you enjoy it, or you need to do it more often or mix it up or whatever it is. But socializing, as much as we hate it and as much as we're too tired and as much as we'd rather just stay at home in our pajamas and watch Netflix, that's not where our longevity genes are being changed. Remember, the deal too with longevity is that we have a predetermined genetic code for our longevity that was passed on by our parents. 10%. 90% of that code is our lifestyle. So hanging out with your friends, yes, that's right, can change your genes, and it can actually change your the signals that your genes are giving your body and your longevity. And then finally, spirituality. People that belong to a spiritual group or have a dedicated spiritual practice, whether that be religious or otherwise, are living the longest. This is another thing that the blue zones have in common. They're eating their beans, they're doing their exercise, they're taking time to put the heels of their hand on their eyeballs, and they have a great spiritual connection. They believe in a higher power. They believe and they have faith in a higher power, and they worship that regularly and oftentimes in a group. And I'm not here to tell you that you have to go to church, but I am here to tell you that what we have found in our studies of the blue zones, I say it like I'm studying the blue zones, I'm reading books about the blue zones. What blue zones researchers have learned is that people that have a weekly spiritual practice in a group are living longer. So take that for what it's worth and examine that. See where you can build that into your week. And maybe it's a book club. Maybe you are meeting each week and doing kind of a spiritual book club. It doesn't have to be about God if that's not what you believe, but it does have to kind of address a higher power as our overarching faith base. So again, the blue zones are fascinating. I am obsessed with it. I just read an article on the Blue Zones Facebook page, which I highly recommend that you follow. They are building a health center in Miami, Florida, that's based on the blue zones. It's not traditional medicine, it's wellness. It's incorporating the blue zone principles to the sick to help them heal. And I am so jealous that they got it first, but I'm super excited, and I think we should all go there on a field trip. These are the things that they're doing. These are the things that they're doing. They're teaching people how to socialize. We don't know how to do that anymore. When I was growing up, people would drop in. They would just drop in and maybe play a game of cards, or maybe sit on the porch and have an iced tea. Nobody does that anymore. Share your vulnerabilities with your community. Share your gifts. Create a spiritual group. Give yourself a week or more to really put some of these things into play. Gather the resources, get the journal, get the candle, get the friends, look at your schedule, and start crafting this. It might be a rest of the year project. You might take one at a time if this is really new to you. I don't think the speed is important. I think the implementation for the long term is important. So give yourself a break. And you know what? Just like we say with everything, you might do this at 20% to start. You might do one night a week of beans. You might do one day a week of exercise snacks. And then every week, every month, you're going to get bigger and bigger and better and closer to that 90 to 99% regularity with it. And that's where we're going to see the real longevity benefits, I think. If you haven't already done it, make sure you take the True Life quiz on the Blue Zones website. And I think it's important to do it about every 6 months. Just check in. Kelly, who's in our group, took it 3 or 4 months ago. She's already increased her age by 2 more years or something like that. So
yeah, actually I took it and I think I increased it like by almost 4 years.
I love that. I love that. We want to live long, but ultimately we really want to live well. We want to live happy. We want to live purposeful. We want to live disease free. And we can. You can take charge. The little things that you do definitely have an impact on your outcome. And likewise, not taking action, I'm afraid you're going to regret it. So,
well, you know,
go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to say that all of these things, they'll make today better.
Yeah.
And that's really all we have.
Yes.
And that longevity, I don't know what I'm interested in longevity, you know, yeah. But what I do want is that what I can see in the immediate future, having suffered, you know, with different things, it's like, no, I can see clearly for 4 days. I know I have something to give. And while the mindset and community can be really difficult for people in this Western society, it's also true that if you're sharing, you're probably socializing. Yes. And if you're sharing and socializing, you're going to have a purpose. You're going to feel some gratitude. Yeah. You're going to understand that there's something bigger than just you, which is spirituality.
Exactly. Megan, so well said. Thank you for saying that, because I hadn't even thought about how it's making you better right now. Yeah.
It's right now.
Today, you're going to feel better immediately. Forget about when you're 94. I mean, right now. Perfect.
And that's what's changing your cells.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
It's all,
yep. It's going to change your hormonal response, and it's releasing all those happy hormones and getting rid of all the stress hormones. Yeah. So good. I feel better already. All right, I'm going to stop the share and stop recording. Thank you all for watching. You guys can stay on if you want to chat.